Oh, hang on. Got the wrong screen. Oops. No, got the wrong screen. Is it secondary one? Yeah, there we go. And secondary. There we go. And let's look at this and see what's going on here. Because, is it gonna work? Yeah, okay. All right, we are live. I think so. Let's double check all the other platforms. Make sure that we're good. Okay, so I think we got LinkedIn working. Am I frozen? I'm frozen. All right, one more thing to do. One more thing to do. One more thing to do. Welcome to all my new people. If you're new for the very first time, my name is Dwayne Brown. As you can see, I have a free community where you can join and learn about all things vibe coding. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about architecture and quite a few things around scaling and not overcomplicating things with crazy infrastructure. Yeah, there we go. Go live. What's it? Oh, sorry. Vibe coding. Build. What's it called? Oh my goodness. Build small. Oops. Build small. Ship fast. Scale fast. There we go. Perfect. Okay, do we have any? Sorry, one more thing here. I don't know why this thing wouldn't disappear if it just pops up. If it pops up, you'd think it would disappear. No, wouldn't do that. Gotta click on something else for it to disappear. There we go. Okay, am I stuck here? Am I frozen? Sorry, it takes a while for you to get all these live streaming events sort of set up and configured and everything of the sort. So bear with me for a second while we get all of the moving parts. Got TikTok now. Boop, boop, boop. Hello, people in the TikTok world. Good to see you. Live chat. Bring that there. And going to be talking about. Okay, I think we're almost there. All right. I think we're almost there. Let me just make sure my sound is okay. Testing, testing. We got a mic check. Yeah, hear me, right? Yeah. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. So, if you're new here, don't know who I am, my name is Dwayne. Talk a lot about building software using vibe coding as a platform or as a process. Um, for my software people in their house that are anti vibe coding and don't think that vibe coding is here to stay, it's here to stay. And I've been learning a lot and figuring out a bunch of techniques on how to really scale and build software with by vibe coding, and it's been an interesting journey to say the least. Not without its problems, like anything in life, but we adapt. Okay. All right. Hello to my people on TikTok. How are you guys doing? Hey Dwayne, good evening. Good evening to you, sir. You're late. I know. I'm so sorry. I'm trying. I'm trying. The technology thing is a nightmare. I had to make a whole bunch of changes in the back, so I apologize for that. I'm shifting the time to 1:30 p.m. because I find that because I get off my other meetings, it's a little bit hard to get into to the live and get every single thing prepared. And it turns out that it takes like a entire hour just to get LinkedIn just set up for go live. So I'm shifting the time to 1:30 going forward, just so I could just buy myself a little bit more time. So when I come on, I'm a little bit more prepared, and people can actually get some value. So yeah, there's that. But good to see you. Thanks for holding me to accountable. I appreciate that. You never know where you're gonna get when you come on these lives, right? Like there's just you just never know. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna come on today. I'm so tired or whatever, right? And then people show up, and I'm grateful. I'm thankful that you show up, Claudette. I keep saying Claudette. I know your name is not Claudette, but I keep saying that for some reason. Hello, new friends. Meta for Sarah. Did I get that right? Good to see you. First creator I see using Cloudflare. I have to build a full SaaS on it. Oh, then I got you. You're in the right place, buddy. And it's costing me nothing. You said I have built a full. Oh, I've built a full SaaS. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yes, that's great. I'm glad to see her. That's my friend. Yes, Cloudflare. We're a diehard Cloudflare fan around here. In fact, I will ban you from this room if you use anything else. I'm just kidding. Use whatever you want. Throw away your own money. It's your own money, okay? I won't stop you from throwing away money. I just moved my last app to Cloudflare and it was fast. Oh, welcome. I'm glad to hear that. Never heard of Cloudflare. Oh, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat today. So I'm just going to shove this yogurt down and then we're going to get started. Let everybody kind of catch up and let the internet kind of catch up to us. But never heard of Cloudflare, so stick around. That's good to know. Because we're going to actually set up a brand new account. And when I say brand new, it doesn't even have a credit card on it. Brand new account. And we're going to do a couple things. We're going to start from scratch for a couple of my newbies. We're going to start from scratch, and then we're going to talk about scale. The other thing I want to do today, I want to be a little more formal about this because I've been kind of lax about it, to be honest with you, is I want to have at least 2 people. I want to review their website live. Your website, your app, whatever it is. I want to basically be able to kind of review it and give you my feedback live, unscripted feedback about what I think about it. So we're going to do a little bit of that today. And then I'll give you guys a little bit progress update on some of the things I've been working on. I'm telling you, man, like the bills are getting higher because I'm just racking up vibe coding credits like crazy. And these guys are just turning up the knobs. So trying to get every single thing done as fast as I possibly can while the credits are still cheap, or at least relatively cheap, because it's getting more expensive. I saw an article earlier this week about vibe coding, basically, or AI is getting as expensive as a human being. I hope that's not a case because I'm going to suffer dramatically, but we'll see. So, all right, got my coffee here, and we are ready. Okay. So we're on LinkedIn today. I'm hoping that it actually goes well because last week when I was in a live stream, funny story. Well, it's not really funny. It's not funny to anybody except for me. But I was hustling trying to get LinkedIn set up, and basically I was testing out this software, and you know how you could do like a trial or whatever, but it doesn't give you all the features. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me just pay for it for at least a month, just kind of get it going. And instead of doing the monthly plan, I did the yearly plan. So I paid for like, I don't know, $300 or something like that for the entire year. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. So yeah. So anyway, but so far it seems like it's working out. So we'll see. If there's anybody on LinkedIn, please drop me a line or message me, and I'll put it up on the chat so at least the other people could see it, and hopefully it works because I paid money. If not, I want a refund. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Build small, scale fast on Cloudflare vibe coding. So we're going to do a couple of things as I mentioned before. Goal number one for me today is to get a little bit more tactical. I've been trying to get out to the clouds in these conversations and stay a little bit more focused. We got such a wide audience from developers all the way to people that are like brand new to this stuff to just people that are just curious. So it's always hard to kind of figure out like what line do I toe. And also we got business people also that want to learn things as well too. So again, I'm a business person in case you don't know me. I've been an entrepreneur for about 20 years now, building tons of stuff and failing at a lot of things. So I want to be clear with that. I never ever want to not highlight my failures because my failures is what got me here today. I just constantly keep failing on all types of experiments. And so as a result of failing like 100 times over, I've learned what to do and what not to do. And I'm still learning and I'm still failing. So just to be clear, I'm no expert around here, but I do have some experience. So if you're curious to kind of get sort of like developer take, but as well as the entrepreneur take and everything in between, you're in the right place. All right. So yeah, we're gonna talk about scaling. We're gonna talk about I gotta do my promotion stuff. I'm trying to promote my community as well too, and I'm hoping to grow it a little bit better. I need to put some focus on it. So, if you also haven't joined the community, I have a free school community, work in progress. I'm putting that in asterisk because it's a work in progress. There's a lot of love that I got to give the community, but I do appreciate the people at least join in so that when I could start pushing in content in there, people at least have one centralized place where they could get access to me and my content and all the things I'm putting out around that. Link is there. Dwayne, DWAIN. My name is spelled a little differently, /school. But I'll drop it in the chat because if you're in TikTok, I know you people don't like to like type things, so I'll drop it in the chat for you. So yeah, anyway, join the community, right? And I did mention, so yes, and we're gonna review 2 websites today. So anybody, if you think we're gonna do it sort of on the hour, so maybe 2:30, 2:30, and then 3:30, we'll try to review a website each. So yeah, with that, let's jump right into it. All right, so I got to go all the way to the top, all the way up. By the way, these presentations that I'm putting together, I like just gotta be real with y'all, okay? I don't even look at them before I do them. I literally just they're AI generated. I come up with the content that AI generated, and I just put it out and I start talking. If you're wondering what tool I'm using, it's called Gemma app, GEMMA app. It's actually a really good tool. You can generate these slides pretty fast and then export it to PowerPoint, and they're actually really good. They're just a fantastic tool. This is like in true sense of vibe coding. This is one of those tools that I go back to every single time because it makes a lot of cool thing. Made a lot of cool stuff in there. Yes, yeah. I'm glad that you use it. It's a fantastic tool. Yeah, really good. Just takes away the whole grunt work of doing presentations. So now I just read the slides when I talk through it. So yeah, anyway, so what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about building outcomes with vibe coding. So let me give you some premises and some high level overview so at least you understand what the goal is. So one of the things that I've noticed time and time again with my entrepreneur friends, definitely true of my technical friends, maybe not so much for my business friends, but for technical friends, one of the biggest challenges that exists is you tend to think in technical terms. What do I mean by that? Well, you're interested in building some sort of solution to a problem, and in doing so, you focus on all the technology. I'm definitely guilty of this. Okay, I want to be clear with this. I'm probably most guilty of this problem, and so the problem with focusing on the technical is that you never get to a place, or you take a really long time, I should say, to get to a place where you're focusing on the business because you feel you need to solve all of the technical problems first before you solve the business problem. And this is just human nature for technical people again, right? My business people, on the other hand, have a slightly different thing where they might go out and sell something that has not been built. Okay. But the good thing about that is that if they sell it, they're able to get the feedback of what somebody is willing to buy, and then they hire the team on the back end to build the thing. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily work out the way that it should. Sometimes you need to spend the time on the technical. But the point is that what I'm going to try to make an argument for in this presentation is for my technical people to focus more on the outcomes of what is it that you're trying to solve for versus the technical, and hopefully it'll make sense in the end. Okay, so um, let's just jump a little bit deeper into this. So first of all, here's a sort of a scenario. So most people start with, I want to build an app, right? But the real question is, what is the outcome that we're creating, right? um, I want to save somebody 5 hours per week, or I want to be able to respond to leads faster, or I want to be able to reduce missed invoices, right? Or automate manual follow ups, or track usage. So I'll give you a real example that I have right now. I'm doing these lives. TikTok, I get my most audience on, and I don't engage with the people after new people follow me on TikTok or any single thing. And the reason why is because frankly, just going in there and just messaging people individually, and trying to remember and trying to just track who followed me and who are new, like it's just a lot of work. And so it'd be really cool if I could have a tool that could help me to just aggregate that information into one, so I could at least be able to kind of message people faster and be like, hey, at least thank you for joining on my live. So just in case it's not clear, I'm happy that you guys are joining me on this live, but if I don't ever message you and say thanks, it's because I'm just overwhelmed by the amount of messages that kind of come in. So it'd be nice if I had a tool that could do that, right? So that's an example of an outcome. And I would buy a tool like that because I that's a real problem for me, right? So this is what I mean by focusing on the outcome, right? So what is that outcome? The outcome is to message people on TikTok faster, as an example, right? Um, so sell the outcome first, build the outcome, solve for that one thing that is going to make your customer or your client or whoever it is um, see the value in your tool significantly faster versus I'm going to build an app that's going to automate TikTok. Okay, well, what value do I get out of that, right? That's basically where we want to be. Is it possible for us to seek this presentation over email? Yeah, 100%, man. Um, Join the community, and I will message you the actual links and stuff like that. Right? Join the community. This is my promotion. So come in here, and you know what I'll do? I'll just thanks for asking that. I'm gonna drop it in because I promote in here. I'm gonna put the presentation on this as an attachment because I can do that. See here, attachment. I'm gonna put that as an attachment right in there. In fact, I'm going to download it right down to you. But yes, this is an excuse for you to join the community because you think. But yes, so yeah, so you definitely, and thanks for asking for that because it's a good question. So so we really want to think about this very very like carefully because it's so like it's not just like a nice to have. Okay, it's literally the difference between building a real business and just building like a side hobby, like a hobby, right? Um, it's coming up with something that properly it just gives you the structure for you as a you have to put your hat in the eyes of entrepreneur. Okay, we're not developers, we're entrepreneurs, and that distinction really matters because you in spending so much time on the technical and not focusing on the customer outcome, you end up just going into the weeds, right? You just get deep on like, okay, I gotta get super base, and I gotta get Postgres database or MySQL, or I don't know, heaven forbid, Azure or SQL database. Nothing against Azure, I have Azure databases around, right? So I gotta get this, and I need to write it in Python, or I need to write it, right? You get so caught up in the technical and the infrastructure or whatever, and so the business just kind of suffers, right? And a real example, because yesterday I was on a call, I was doing some sales call, not for my business, but actually for my dad's business that I'm helping with sales. And I jumped on the phone and I started making some calls because I just wanted to see what's out there and who I could talk to, etc. And while I was doing that, the person just said, "Oh, this is interesting. Can you send me some information?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I will send you some information." I jumped off the call and I quickly had to just scramble to try and figure out what information I need to put together because I literally didn't have any single thing to send to her. And that's not necessarily such a bad thing. I was really just trying to feel the market to kind of understand what's out there and what thing. But just the idea of the fact that this person wanted me to send them something, I was like, oh, I guess I should put something together, right? And this is what I mean by selling the outcome. As technical people, you're quick to just jump into the details, quick to just jump into sort of like the all of the bolts, the nuts and the bolts, but you don't have a proper presentation of what is it that you're building. Now, I want to put an asterisk here. It's possible you could go too far on the opposite side. So we're going to try to talk about how we could balance things in this conversation, right? But um, the goal is build prototypes, MVP, but I'm going to say it's more like minimal, oh my goodness, minimal lovable product. So what is this? LVP, right? Minimum lovable product, right? Something that you could ship that people will actually love. Because let's be real, the bar of software has gotten higher, especially with vibe coding today. So you need to ship something to say, but you need to prototype it and send it out into the world, get the feedback, learn from real users super fast, and just iterate, right? Iterate at a really, really rapid pace. And this is the key, okay? So now the problem with doing this is that you're going to run into another problem. And again, if you're if you're technical, you know these problems. So I'm not telling you any single thing new. If you're not technical, this is new stuff to you. You run into a problem really fast once you start to ship things really fast, or you start to sell outcomes without really thinking about the technical part, which is what we call spaghetti code, right? The technical people know exactly what I mean. For the non-technical people, it basically translates to you write something today, 2 weeks later you come back to it and you're like, what the hell did I write? Like I don't even know. I don't even know what this code does. Okay. And then you go and you patch it and you do something else. The next thing you know, you come back to it and then some other feature comes in and then you just keep patching and patching. And then you end up with literally an entanglement of your code in such a way that nothing is scalable. You got no a proper architecture, and the whole thing is just falling apart. Okay, so this is kind of the other problem. I don't like that at all. Neither do I, Claude. Yeah, this is a real problem, and it has real consequences. So the real challenge here is how do you ship fast, sell outcome to customers, but still maintain some level of sort of cohesion, some level of maintainability in your code where it's consistent and you can keep adding on without sort of bolting on, right? So that's what we're gonna kind of dive into that. And again, I'm kind of towing the line between the technical and the business. A white paper. Um, okay, yeah. A white paper is actually a really good way to do lead generation. So lead is a good statement here. So if you're doing a white paper, maybe not a white paper in today's world, but the idea of a white paper, right? Like nobody reads a lot of this information today, but it's good. Is a really good downloadable thing that you could give out, right? At scale on your social media platform to gauge interest in the thing that you want to build. It's actually a fantastic idea. It's actually thing. So the quote unquote the term that we call it in the marketing world is lead gen, right? Fancy word for lead generation, but it's literally, hey, you say something publicly, right? Um, do X faster. Here's how I did it, blah, blah, blah. And then if you want to know more, comment XYZ, right? You've seen this before. We've all seen this, right? Comment, you know, vibe coding to get my downloadable strategies or my PDF or whatever. The good news is you can generate this stuff really fast, but what it does is really allows you to gather people's information really fast, collect it, get the feedback of what it is that they want to build, and then go build one very specific thing. That's the key word, one specific thing. So you might talk to 10 or 15 or 20 people. Out of that, you'll hear a common theme, and then you go build the one or two things that they want, right? So that you could prove that out. Because if you could find one or two or three people that need the same thing, chances are you could find 1,000. So you probably just need to just sell that one simple thing, right? So that's the key. However, going back to this conversation around spaghetti mess and spaghetti code, is when you build that one thing, because you haven't necessarily talked through the entire architecture properly and etc., you can really run into problems where you just start building a Frankenstein, and we don't want that, right? So the question is, how do we do that? And this is where Cloudflare, honestly, it really shines. It's just a fantastic tool, and we're going to dig into the details on this because we're gonna switch over, we're going to do some code, and we're going to come back to slides in a bit. But the goal is simple: one service, one job, one outcome. Okay. And I can't stress this enough. I know I sound like a fanboy of Cloudflare, and that's because I am, but it's because it's so good at what it does. Um, that there's just no other tool out there like it on the market. It's just, I'll be real with you guys. My number one fear now is that my account, like I lose my account on Cloudflare. This is my number one fear of recently. And as a result of that, I've been starting to create backup accounts where I can easily simulate automatically deploying out to Cloudflare. Now, I'm going to put a little asterisk here. Um, my account in Cloudflare has gotten locked out once before, and it taught me a very really valuable lesson not to ever put all of my eggs in one basket. And on recently, I've been watching a couple of guys on Reddit, and there was this guy that put a whole post recently about how cloud he just got this extra, he got like a $30,000 bill from Cloudflare, and he's trying to figure out what to do with it. And it was because of some architecture choices that he made. I'm digressing a little bit, but the point I'm making is that it's possible that you the Cloudflare at a small level is really good. Once you start to scale, once you really start to scale, things could get out of hand really fast. So you have to really be careful about mitigating costs or whatever. So this is just a side note, but I've been really thinking about spreading my services across multiple different accounts just in the event that something were to go wrong. That being said, though, what Cloudflare is extremely good at, and I can't stress this enough, is just building super small, simple web services that allows you to do one thing really well, so you can build one very specific outcome and just sort of wrap it all together into one package. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of examples of this so that you could kind of talk through it. So this week, first of all, we're gonna set up a brand new account today, because this is my new account that I'm going to be using for live going forward. Therefore, I don't have to hide too many details in here all the time. But I want to show you something that I built recently that that is sitting on DP Homes. So I'm testing Cloudflare. Like I'm trying to push Cloudflare to the limit, okay? And I won't go into the details of this application because that's not the point. I just want to show you how much you can scale on Cloudflare in a way that most people wouldn't necessarily think. So this is I'm using an SQL like database to manage properties. What these properties are doesn't really matter, but just in case you're curious, there are a bunch of properties in Brooklyn, New York, okay, for a real estate provider. And what I'm basically doing is scraping. So this tool, just to give you some context of what this tool does, it literally, my goal right now is to literally scrape every single property in Brooklyn, New York. And to give you some more color, what it's doing is scraping every property that is going out to Google Street View. And for each one of the properties, is finding the address, looking it up, and then taking a snapshot of the Google Street View of that building, and then putting it as an image in here. Okay, and I'm doing this with Cloudflare. Okay, and I'm halfway there with the project. Just to give you some numbers, here. I've scraped So there's a hunt in New. It turns out in Brooklyn specifically, there's about 290, call it 300,000 properties roughly residential. I'm look Out of that, I'm looking for a subset which are really like multifamily type of stuff. That translates to about 200,000, 196,000, right? I'm 54% of the way in this project. So I've now scraped 126,000 leads, all running. Here's what's crazy about it, just to, again, big promoter Cloudflare here, all running on their super cheap $5 a month tier. Okay, running at scale. They're $5 a month tier that allows me to put through, where's the database? I don't know if they have a D1 database inside of here because they never show it. But anyway, you can do 50,000 databases on Cloudflare. Okay, I'm using one database for this entire project. Okay, so just to give you some numbers, but again, what I'm trying to do here is just highlight the fact that you can be extremely cheap with Cloudflare, extremely cheap, and as achieve like pretty good um, scale for this kind of stuff. Hang on, got some questions here. Hey Dwayne, happy Friday to you, Mr. David. Um, do you deploy your apps in Docker containers or Kubernetes or directly on Linux OS? None of the above. Straight to Cloudflare workers. In fact, we're gonna do one of those live today so you could see it in action. Okay. But yeah, I do. Well, let me put an asterisk there. I do use Docker. I do use I don't use Kubernetes. I use Kubernetes in Azure, which is a thing called Azure Container Apps, which uses Kubernetes under the hood, but I do not touch Kubernetes. It's a waste of my time and effort and energy. And this is probably an example of what I mean by being too much in the weeds. Okay, we want to be business people. We don't want to be like managing servers, right? So that's the reason why I don't use Kubernetes. And for Linux, I do have some Linux containers that are deployed independently, but they're used for independent stuff. Actually, in this particular case, for this particular project, it's actually using to scrape properties. What I'm scraping here, by the way, is public information that I'm scraping from a government website, basically aggregating it and putting it together. So that's where a Linux box comes in handy and not like a Cloudflare worker, but I could have spin up like a Cloudflare container for it. It just won't make economic sense to do it that way, right? It's easier for me to just spin up like a $5 container on DigitalOcean as an example, and then run stuff that way. So that's it's what I'm doing. But it's a fantastic question. But we're gonna set up a worker on the free plan. I'm not gonna pay any money for this. I'm just gonna use a free 100% free plan Cloudflare worker so we could understand the scale of this thing. And what it could do better than Netlify $9, 100%. 100%. Okay. I got nothing against Netfly. The guys are Netfly are pretty good. It's cool. But Cloudflare has tapped into something that still, I promise you guys, the industry has not caught on. They have not. Or they have caught on, but they don't care. Like, for example, like Microsoft Azure would never sell this service. It's too cheap, right? Even if you wanted to deploy, here's what's crazy. If you wanted to deploy a static basic web app on Azure, just purely static, okay, it's called Azure Static Web Apps. It's like $11 a month. Okay, do you know how much services I could get for $11 a month in Cloudflare? Like stupid amount of services. Okay, and as I told you guys last week or last month, about a month ago, I had one of my services that was getting hammered with a DDoS attack because I didn't protect it properly. And I was getting about 20 million requests per day. It ended up being over all the different services or whatever cases turned into a billion. I'm not making this up, a billion requests over the course of like a week and a half or something like that. And they did charge me, Cloudflare, for that. It cost me $350. Okay. So that's the scale at which you can do things on Cloudflare. Okay. Now, I would have been happy if they didn't charge me for that because it was, it wasn't a thing. But it's not Cloudflare's fault. It's my fault that I didn't protect my services. Or the other thing, you need to protect your services at all times. But anyway, the point is that that's the type of scale that you could get. Okay, for $5 a month, for those who don't know, you could get 10 million requests per month included, and it's only 30 cents per additional million afterwards. The real question is, how can they do this so cheap? And the answer is very simple. They're using, this is how I describe it to non-technical people. It's the equivalent of opening up a new tab. So when I open up a new tab, that's what a worker is. Okay, they're using the Chrome engine, literally the Chrome browser engine, and they're able to spin up workers or websites in the same way that you can spin up a Chrome tab. So it's super, super cheap to do it at scale. And they've just done a fantastic job with this. So that's the reason why, in case you're wondering from a sort of technical standpoint, if you're non-technical. But anyway, yeah, so the point with this is that this project here, right? If I were running this on something like Azure, for sure I'd be upwards in the hundreds of dollars. For sure. No question about it, right? Now, I'm not going to tell you it's the most performant because I have started noticing. Let's see, for example, 100, 2 100. Okay, so 2 seconds. Okay, let's refresh that again. 100, 2 100, 3 100. About 3 seconds for it to load sort of the stats here. Okay, 100, 2 100, 3 100, 4 100, 5 100, 6, right? So about 5 seconds for it to load all of this information here. Okay, so still pretty fast. Okay, so I guarantee you, if I were in Azure doing this, because I know Azure inside out and I've used their databases significantly, if I had this many records in Azure, loading this many different relationships and stuff like that, for sure I'd have to be about $200 to $300 at minimum to be able to kind of keep the level of performance that I'm getting here with a super small, light, efficient D1 database, right? And again, I'm not doing an apples to apples comparison because you can't do all of the stuff that you can do with an Azure database in D1. I'm aware of that from my Microsoft people, but the point is that this is possible with D1 for $5 a month. Okay, it's for $5 a month. I just can't stress that enough. All right. Okay, I sound like I'm a spokesperson for Cloudflare. I'm not, by the way. So right. So going back to this concept. Okay, microservices all the way down. Okay, microservices without the nonsense. Microservices focusing on very small isolated features and services without the complexity of all of the Kubernetes and Docker and Linux containers and all this type of stuff. Like none of it. Okay, one worker, one database, clear outcome. That's the mission. That's basically the goal. Okay, so on the Cloudflare spectrum, for any feature that you're developing, for any feature that you're putting together, or any outcome that you're selling to a customer, one worker, one D1 database, cloud R2 if you need it. R2 is their storage for blobs and stuff like that, and then things. So again, I'm going to show you a real example of this. So I have our, which I'm trying to get launched real soon. My sales calling tool. It'll take a little time because it's in sort of a refresh state. So this tool has, this particular customer has about 72,000 records inside of it. Okay, but this system has just about around 1 million records inside of it. Okay, now I'm not using 100% Cloudflare for this. I just want to be clear with the architecture. Okay, however, I want to make this point about one sort of essentially building and moving fast, one worker, one D1 sort of thing. So this tool has a call-in feature. So I have to click on any one of these leads and I click on this button here, I could start calling a user. Okay, when I start making that call, that is the UI is obviously one UI, but the system is completely independent of my core system. Okay, to give some, for my technical people, the core system is sitting on Cloudflare as a front end stats. The back end is sitting in Azure. We'll keep it that simple like that for now, right? There's more complexity, but the backend is sitting in Azure. However, the call-in system that I built in this tool is sitting on Cloudflare in one Cloudflare worker with a Cloudflare D1 database. Okay, and then it kind of does its own thing, its own processing, its own whatever. And then what it'll do is it'll basically drop that details into a queue and then sync it back up with Azure on the backend. Okay, so that's what I mean by one system. So if I were to come into this dashboard, so the settings interface, and I go to like my call-in phone number system here, I could buy phone numbers. I have the ability to buy phone numbers, purchasing that phone numbers and knowing which tenant it belongs to and which user is assigned to and all that kind of stuff. All that complexity is one application sitting outside of my main application in Cloudflare in its own environment doing its own thing. Okay. I also have domains. All right. You can come into this app and you could purchase domains. Right. I have all the different providers where I could see all the different providers or whatever the deal is. Okay, the registry for this list here. Hopefully it loads. I don't know. It might be just a bug or something. But anyway, the registry for this list that has the Cloudflare, the domain name providers and stuff like that, all in its own database, separate, independent. Okay. Um, the speed dialer, so I can make calls to multiple different people. Okay. Every time I click next here to make a call, it shows you right next to the name, it shows you which state that phone number is in. It'll do a backend lookup, it'll check the phone number and it'll look up. That information that's lookup is not coming from an API. It's a D1 database that has all of the phone numbers for North America, all of the area codes, sorry. And it's basically stored in an independent database so that I can just make a API request to that worker to basically just look up that information and pull it into the main app. I hope you guys are getting the idea here and understanding of what I'm trying to tell you here, which is right, is to build one simple feature, have it a 100% isolated and independent of all of the other applications, okay? And then you're gonna tie it together on the back end. So let's see what we got here. Better than five. So what's the difference in a $5 VPS from DigitalOcean and a $5 Cloudflare worker? Oh, big difference. So a couple of differences. The biggest one is scale. Okay, your $5 Cloudflare worker from your $5 VPS virtual private server is one single computer. Let's keep this conversation simple. One computer on one cloud on one server. Okay, it does not load balance. So in other words, if that rack went down or that server had a network problem or whatever, your VPS will go down. Now, I'm oversimplifying. I know that DigitalOcean might have sort of internal load balancers to kind of shift you around in case, to keep their uptime up. But the point is that you're sitting on one server for the most part. That server is limited, or that VPS is limited by the amount of traffic that it can maintain, which is basically the amount of memory that it can handle, right? So in other words, if I flood your server with traffic, your system is going down for sure, 100%. It just won't be able to keep up with it. On the Cloudflare worker, it's not a VPS. It's a Chrome browser. Again, keeping the conversation simple. It's a Chrome browser on a VPS. Okay, so it's even more light. The difference is that you don't get one of these Chrome browsers. You get hundreds of them across the globe. So when you deploy your app, you deploy it to this Chrome browser, keeping the conversation light, in a VPS across the world, literally. Because when you deploy to Earth. So what happens is, if you get hammered with traffic, there's no one single point of failure. You'd literally have to bring down Cloudflare network in order to bring down your service. That's the difference. So when you deploy, even though it seems like from a surface you're deploying to one location, you're literally deploying to all locations globally. And Cloudflare manages every single thing else from that particular point. In your world, you would have to spin up multiple VPSs in different regions, and then you'd have to put a network balancer to kind of route the traffic accordingly. Does that make sense, David? Maybe I should draw it a little bit out just to make sure that everybody understands that. ESCLADRAW. Okay, we're approaching about 10 more minutes. So what I'm going to do is, perfect. Yes, great. Good. I'm glad you understand. Yeah, so it's always, this Chrome browser thing is really things, right? So I'm just going to highlight it just a little bit just in case for other people and for the recording as well too. So VPS, right? The VPS, there's my VPS here, right? So I'm always, this is just one computer. That's what my VPS is. It's one computer. one virtual computer, right? And you're always kind of limited to that. Whereas you got the uh, Cloudflare is literally a Chrome instance. It's just Chrome. Okay, for all intents and purposes, they're V8 engine. That's what they did. They literally took the Chrome V8 engine and just put it in a computer, and then you send traffic instead of to the VPS. You send traffic to the your code is sitting inside of that inside of the Chrome V8 engine, and then they literally just spread it out across the globe in multiple regions. So you never ever have to think about load, because whenever, depending on the user, if the user, oh, I'm forgetting this tool, but let's say this is your user, and let's say they come to your website. If they're coming from Europe, they might hit this V8. Okay, but if they're coming from America, they might hit they'll hit this guy here, right? Cloudflare deals with all that complexity. However, if you have your VPS, you're always hitting the same VPS, even if you're in Europe, which means it's much slower also, right? So you get huge, just insane amount of scalability and benefits by having Cloudflare just deploy this stuff here. And it's super light, right? The applications that we're deploying are not that complex. So these workers are actually ideal for this type of stuff. We've been kind of sold the lie that we need all this big, massive infrastructure with Kubernetes and all this type of stuff. You don't. Unless you're a super large enterprise, none of this stuff is relevant to you. So yeah, anyway, I'm glad you asked that question, David. So that's what we're basically doing, right? We're deploying the Cloudflare worker, and we're just not thinking about the infrastructure anymore. The entire infrastructure is just abstracted away from us. We don't have to think about it. The key is you're doing business, so you have to think about it from a business standpoint. And what that translates to, while I still have this diagram up, is what it translates to is, instead of having, so we're going to pretend that each one of these workers is something separate now. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean by it. So we're going to pretend that this is like worker VS worker number one. Let's call it app one, right? And then we're going to have app number two. Okay, and then we're going to have app number three. Okay, and so with these workers, separate and independent, I'm hearing somebody pressing on the doorbell. I don't know. Okay, hopefully they go away. So with that, your app is going to sit at this top level here. Okay, and again, I'm going to try to keep the conversation simple. For your app is going to sit at this top level. Let me just pull this down a little bit so I could get some space here. Okay, your app is going to sit at this level, and each section of your app, let's say you have a navigation. I'm just making this up, okay, for just to prove a point. Let's say you have your navigation. This navigation here will be one worker, okay? And then you might have, let's say, a second part of your application. This here is pointing to one worker, okay? And then you have another section of your application. For those who are familiar, like iframes, right? For this kind of stuff, iframes, okay? In doing this, each of these sections are independently scaling, right? The thing to keep in mind is underneath that, you'll have each one of them. This is not necessarily, but I'm just letting you understand sort of like how and why you would scale it this way, is each one of them would have their own independent database on the back end, okay? Geez, what do I use for database? Okay, let's just use a square, okay? So this is the database, D1, okay? Doesn't have to, I just want to be clear. You don't have to do this, okay? You only do this if you have complexity, right? You could, all of these can share one database. You could have one centralized API sitting in front of this, and you could have everybody point into this one database. I just want to be clear with that. But if you have complexity and there's lots of features that you're building out, you do it this way, because then you can build the features independently of each other, deploy them independently, and more importantly, from a business standpoint, right, you could launch with one feature. So going back here, let's do this, right? You could just launch with this tier. You could say, you know what, I'm going to launch with just this. This is my V1. That's what I'm launching with, my first feature. Okay. And then when you start getting, once you master that feature, you launch with your second feature. And you keep doing that, right? You keep doing that exact same infrastructure while at the top layer, it's just one app to the user. So the app, the user doesn't care about all this complexity. They don't know, and they don't, that's not of interest to them. You're just adding on features as you need them without adding more complexity onto one application. Right. And then just to carry this conversation just a little bit further, and again, my technical people know this stuff here, is you would basically have this application in what we call a monorepo, MONO REPO. Okay. So you'd have this in a opacity now. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Right. In one monorepo. All the different servers. So they could talk to each other and connect to each other and set up a system that basically allows, this is where vibe coding really shines, is that you can centralize all this information and then put one centralized documentation for the entire thing. Okay, does that make sense? Tap the screen if that makes sense for you guys, and then so at least I know what's happening and you guys are getting some value out of this. How are my YouTube people doing? Anybody got any questions? If not, we're gonna move on. Oh, I didn't go live on my Instagram. I need a checklist of what to. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my Instagram wasn't live. Who else is not live? Let's see. Oh, let's meet my So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you guys that you understand sort of the concept. Okay, just double checking my streams here. Come on. Right. Yes, the front end is just one worker aggregating iframes. Yes, that's a good way to think about it. It's a fantastic way to think about it. It literally is what I did. I got two applications I could show you right off the top. My SnapSuite application is doing that. Because this application here, actually, this is a perfect example. Because I have one problem with this application. Well, I have tons of problems with it. But this application here, my SnapSuite app, is it's a little dated. It's Vue 2.0, not Vue 3, Vue 2.0. Okay, we're up to Vue 3, and if you really want to, if you use Nux, which is the framework that I use, Nux is a NUXT, right? Full stack framework. If you use this, they're up to version 4. So I have a problem in that I'm building out a bunch of features. Right, we're using vibe coding to do a lot of stuff, and right, we got problems with I want to improve the old app, but I don't want to rewrite it, right? So there's kind of a weird thing there. So for example, this calendar feature here, right? This entire thing is an iframe. Now there's ways to lock this down so that the iframe only talks to this main computer. It only knows this one, right? And I'll show you just to let you understand a little bit more. When I click edit here, this is a side panel that opens up, okay, for this particular application. It's in this application, in the main application. However, when I go to my calendar view, I'm no longer in my main app. This is an iframe. But if I click on any one of these items, it still opens up the same experience, which is in the main app. So how is it doing that? It's literally it's talking through the iframe, right? The iframe says, hey, you can talk to me on this channel, and the app says, I'm going to talk to you on that channel, and they do sort of a by-way kind of communication, and they have like a sort of a just a channel in between them that they could communicate, but only to this server, to this domain, to this thing, right? It's kind of locked into that region, so you can access the iframe from any single way. That's how I'm doing it. And I just keep spinning up workers to solve those problems. Exact same thing with this financial dashboard, right? Same thing with this board. These are all frames that are just kind of sitting under each other in that one sort of monorepo architectural structure, right? So what is a recommendation in case we need a computer to run complex software or database? Same principle. So that question is a really good question because I'm doing that with this. So going back to this application here, the short answer is the exact same principle of what I just described, but I'll give you some more color in it. So this scraper is scraping a bunch of information. So it's doing very complex stuff. What is it doing? It's opening up a browser. See here, this is a browser job monitoring system. It opens up a browser and it basically just, combs through a website and scrape data consistently all the time. Okay, that's what it's doing all the time, and it's showing you the stats and all that kind of stuff. So the way how that's set up is, as you describe it, a complex computer. So this is my VPS over here. And actually, just to give you guys some more color in that, I'm actually using Oracle, believe it or not, which I never thought I'd say those words out of my mouth that I'm using Oracle. But it turns out that Oracle has some very, very cheap VPS computers. So I was like, okay, you know what, whatever. We'll do Oracle. So I'm in Oracle's cloud with the VPS. Okay. So how is that communication happening? One is they don't talk to each other. The computer never talks to the main app, because if you do that, you're gonna be bundling too many things together. Okay. Your main app stays your main app. However, you have a worker. I have a worker that's sitting somewhere in the middle. Let's call it here. And what it does is basically it has a queue. What do we do for queue? Let's do triangle. Okay. It has a queue, QUE. And so this app will just basically drop details onto that queue, right? And my queue, this guy will basically just go check the queue for information. Okay, so that's how they communicate. And the reason for doing this is because now I can have as many of these VPSs independently spin up, which is exactly what I have in this particular case for this situation, right? It's a scraper, so the more scrapers I have, the berry, right? So I can have as many of these scraper, there's a second scraper or a separate computer, okay? And what they're basically doing is they're communicating with the queue, right? Now, when the scraper does its work, the scraper, just to put some more detail, the scraper has its own local SQLite database. It's doing its own independent work with its own database, and it's storing its own records. So I want to be clear with that, right? It's storing its own records, and then what it's doing is once it's finished, and it gets it checks its own status and it knows that it's finished, it pushes the final result back up to the queue so that somebody else could pick it up. And in this particular case, a Cloudflare worker picks this back up. Okay. Now, in any other world, this is a very complicated architecture to set up. In Cloudflare world, it's literally, I can't stress this enough. Let me just do it. Let's just do it in ChatGPT for a second here. Can you show me how to set up a worker to connect to a queue to access the information? Just give me sort of like the pseudocode or the basic code. Okay. In any other world, this is a very, very complicated, you got to connect to your queuing system, whether it's RabbitMQ or Service Bus in Azure or I don't know, what's the other one? Kafka, right? There's so many different architectures that you could do this. In the Cloudflare world, this is it. That's it. That's the whole thing. It's just saying, I want this worker to connect to this interface. That's it. That's the whole application, guys. I'm sorry. Hopefully I didn't disappoint you here. That's it. That's the level of complexity that we're talking about. Okay, so you can see with a Cloudflare sort of infrastructure and interface how simple and easy it is that you can build out this complexity without the complexity. I know that's what's the word for that? Is that an oxymoron? I don't know. Right? You could build really, really complex systems and you're using extremely primitive language. It's like queue. I'm a producer. This is the name of the queue. This is the name that I'm going to call it in my code. That's it. And if you can't see that, let me just make it a little bit bigger. It's too easy. Okay, it's just too easy. Okay. This is it's literally these two lines. What is the name of your queue? And what name do you want to call it? That's it. And then on the consumer side, it's here's the queue and how many items do you want to take off the queue? at a time. That's it, guys. I Sorry, I didn't hopefully I didn't disappoint you. Okay, and then in my code, this is what I'm doing. This is all boilerplate TypeScript stuff, just to basically I could give my queue like a structure, right? You got it right, but that we're in a JavaScript. You know what? Give me the JavaScript version. I don't want to do any types. Let's just make it even easier. I'd recommend to use types, but just not everybody's understands TypeScript in detail. So we'll do the simpler version. How do I make this bigger? Can I make this bigger? Okay, here, right? Async. Actually, you know what? Even better. Let's do the Hono version of the JavaScript version. Even simpler. I won't even show you guys that. We're going to do the simplest version. Hono JavaScript. So Hono. Okay. Back funny little trivia for you. So Hono was developed by a guy in Japan that that was friends with some of the guys that created Perl, and he wanted a language to work on Cloudflare that felt like Perl, and so but in JavaScript, and so that's how we came up with this. Fantastic framework. Exact same thing in the JSON. So again, this is your JSON file, and this is it. In the Hono, it's even simpler. Okay, this is your request coming in. This is accessing your queue here. Where is it? This is the queue. This is adding leads to a queue right here. This one line, c.request.json. And then this is where it's consuming the queue here. Oh, sorry, this is sending the queue here. This is c.env.lead queue. So basically, env is me accessing my environment variables. This is the name of the queue that I give it in my JSON, just to be clear. Okay, I give it this name. I want to call my lead queue lead. It's using my internal names because I use, it's just using my right lead queue, and it says send. That's it. So I'm sending a message here. What am I sending? This message, right? Just a basic JavaScript body, dumping it inside of there. Send. Okay. How do we resume it? How do we access it? Where is it? Here. No, get lead messages from leads to score lead. No, you know what? They're giving me too many things. it's taking up my lead score application. It's trying to give me a whole interface. Can you just give me a super simple add in a queue, add in an item to a queue, and receiving an item to a queue? I don't need 100 different things. I just want a simple on Hono. Sorry. It's because it knows too much about me, so it's just trying to add too much color to the conversation. Okay, here we go. Producer, consumer, and this is how I add to the queue. My queue dot send. Okay, what am I sending? I'm just sending this item, and then come down here, receive it. This is how I receive it. Okay, I got a for each. That's basically just pulling it off the queue. That's it. I don't know. If you're maybe 10 lines of code, 5, 6, right? Super, super simple. Batch.message, message.body, message.acknowledge. And this is at global scale. I just want to be clear with this. It's so stupidly simple. It's just unbelievably easy to do. Okay, hopefully I've given you guys enough context and color. Okay, so you can do this in any other world. I would not be telling you to build out such an architecture because of the fact that this just adds an insane amount of complexity, right? The whole purpose of this conversation where we started it was to say that you don't want to get too technical with a whole bunch of technical stuff because you want to focus on the business problems. Yet I'm telling you guys to build out a really complex architecture in any other world, except that if you're in Cloudflare, this becomes super simple to do. So that's the argument. All right. Okay. I want to review a website. Who has a website to review? Does anybody have any website to review? If not, we're going to continue. So use Cloudflare. move fast, stay scalable. One worker, one D1, one KV. KV stands for key value, by the way, which is the queues. And durable objects. I didn't really talk about durable objects, but they're basically the same thing. Just for the sake of this conversation. One R2 bucket, one feature. All right. So this is just at a high level, right? The product should feel. I'm nervous to show you my new app. Don't be nervous. Step right up. Don't be nervous. This is a safe zone with, some of my closest internet friends. Bring it on. Let's go. But yes, one product. While Colette, I gotta pronounce your name properly. I'm sorry, but while she develops some courage to bring her app up, we'll talk about this, right? One product, product should feel like one pro. Oh, I'm sorry. One product should feel like one product, right? Even when the backend is split into a bunch of different services, users shouldn't feel like it's a bunch of complex mismatched system. Salesforce, right? Um, Same layout, navigation, buttons, whole UI. Okay. So it blocked my link. Just don't put the .com. Just put the name of it and then put a space and then put the DOT, like the actual word space. Yeah, it's a spam protection thing. But yeah, the key here is that you have a UI, a front end that looks and feel polished. So you do have to spend some time on it, all right? I'm not telling you guys that you don't have to spend time on it. It's just you do have to spend some time on it. All right. And this is just some high level, right? These are the obvious things, but right? API gateway. By the way, we're going to talk about this because I want to actually highlight some of the things on Cloudflare API gateway. I just recently started using them more than I think, and they have some really cool features around the API gateway to kind of reduce simplicity. Now, I'll be honest, I don't trust it 100% yet. Still a lot. It's still very new. So I'm still going directly to OpenAI, who is my main sort of AI model that I'm using. And then I use Foundry, Azure Foundry. The performance haven't been the best, but I saw something from Tio, one of the YouTubers, and he mentioned that the performance is significantly better because he's been complaining about it also. So I'm interested in looking at that as well, but it's a little too technical for this conversation. But Cloudflare AI Gateway is actually really fantastic. Let's talk about that for a bit. By the way, if you're getting any value from this, give me a double tap. We got a small audience today, but I think we're working on checkout flow. Okay, hang on, but where's the website? It blocked my link. I'm working on checkout flow. Okay, fair enough. Above that, hang on. I'm nervous to show. Okay, so the only message I got from you is I'm nervous to show my new app. Then he said it blocked my link, and then he says I'm working on the checkout flow. So maybe it's still throttling you. Just tell me the word, and then I'll just give me the word independently. Like do it in 3 separate message, because it might just be picking up that you're trying to hint at a link or something. Not 100% certain. Yeah. Right. Okay. Got the first part. Actually, I gotta write it out. CMBRANDSTUDIO.com. Let's try that. Or .ai. No, not .com. No, did I get that right? CMBRANDSTUDIO.com. I did go through it before. I just probably misspelled it. Okay, let's go into something new. What's going on? You're not seeing go live. Okay, hang on. Let me do that again. See, I went to this site before. I remember this. CM. Oh, I'm not seeing go live. Okay, let me just do subdomain. Oh, dot go live. Dot go live. Is that what you're saying? So let me just make sure. CM brandsstudio dot. No, not dot go live. Okay. Reverse. Oh, go live dot. Got it. COM and then go live dot. Go live dot. There we go. Oh, it looks nice. I like the background. On air. Ooh, go live with confidence, even if you don't know what to say. Hey, that's me every single week. Man, you guys are like, I swear I'm gonna be on this live and be buying everything that you guys send me. um so okay, so try it for free, see how it works. I really like the design. It feels I've seen this before, but it definitely wasn't as polished. Um, Live categories. I think I saw it live before. 6 platform covered, $19 a month, full. So TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, etc. Okay, so what do we do? Live title generator, fantastic. Check my access, go live checklist, which I totally need. Live terms, get live ideas. What do I say? Okay, what do I say? Generate a script. Sweet. Why going live feels so hard? Don't know what to say. 100% me every single week. Awkward silence is killing your momentum, for sure. You overthink everything before you go live. Oh my goodness. Speaking to the choir here. You worry about saying the wrong thing or getting flagged. This is your live guide, not a course. Real prompts. Okay, so try it for you next time. Okay, so go live in confidence even if you don't know what to say. So I like this. I really, really like this. What am I struggling with here? So here's the thing. Every single thing on this page is making perfect sense, and I really, really like it. I can't stress this. I actually really like it. The problem is I don't know who it's for. So I know it's somebody that wants to go live, but who wants to go live? Why do I want to go live? Like, what is the purpose of me going live? Right? And what I'm really getting at is the reason why you want to go live is so you can grow your business, right? Like that's why I'm live, sort of, right? I'm live because uh I don't even know why I'm live. Now I'm live because I just want to share my knowledge. I just want to share information. I want to connect with other people in the community, etc. Right? But let me read your message here. So you're good. Saw my chatbot last week. Oh, you saw your I saw your chatbot. Yes. Are you target market? You have gone live. Got it. That's a live thing. The concert niche reason. Yeah. So this concert. Yeah. So it's so we. This is like it's hitting the nail on the head because I can relate to this. Okay. First of all, this is total transparency here. Okay. Let me tell you how I plan my lives. I have in my calendar. I'm gonna go live. It's in my community, right? You guys know this. It's in the community. Okay. It's on the calendar. So I just know that every single week I have to show up and go live. That's it. That's all I'm doing. The problem is that I never, because I'm so busy with all kinds of other stuff, know what the hell I'm gonna talk about. Until 5 minutes before live. It's the reason why I don't publicize that I'm going live because I don't know what I'm gonna talk about until I go live. And so this is a real pain point for me, right? But so I can relate to it very much, and the messaging, the pain point, and the problem does actually resonate. So you're 100% spot on. right? The what's missing for me is it's not talking to me directly, right? It's what it's doing is it talking to an entrepreneur that wants to build his audience? Is it talking to a business person that's looking for a new marketing channel? Like all those are kind of on the lines of finding more audience or whatever, right? But it's just right. You need to kind of pick a lane and figure out who is it that you are, or is it talking about influencers that want to become like social media influencers? Like who is the audience, right? Or maybe it's people that are doing online shopping or selling things online, right? Does that make sense? Right. There's a pre-live checklist during live. I think depending on your chosen live niche, it will give you info. Got you. All included. Got it. So right. So even though you might be targeting a broad audience, which is just people that want to go live, you still have to talk to one person. Always talk to one person, right? Because it helps you to kind of stay on point with your messaging. Other people are going to come on, but for sure, you talk to one person, then you can kind of market properly that thing, right? And I'm using this. This is not a good example. I just want to be clear, but I just want to make sure that you understand what I mean, right? So I come to this website here. Is obviously my own website, but it's like all-in-one software for contractors. I know exactly who it's for, right? Then I get into what we do, blah blah, and all that kind of stuff, right? Um, who would be another example that I could go to that's not mine, that is like that has this kind of feel? So um let's go to Descript. I don't even know if they would think, because this is a broad audience as well, right? AI editing for every kind of video, right? Direct your AI. So this is very broad, and that's because they've gotten to a place where they're very very broad. But at the beginning, you really want to stay niche in order to kind of capture a market, right? Else you're talking to everyone, which means you're talking to nobody, right? A beginner's guide, all included. Um, you're asking if you should put up a beginner's guide. Is that what you're suggesting? Or you're suggesting that you change it for beginners that want to go live, right? Otherwise, I actually really like this. So how does it work? Let's see. Okay, so it's just a bottom piece here. So real-time prompts, right? Try it before you get live. Sign up for free. Okay, so on the free one. So what am I getting between the two? By the way, so this is good, but I think it has too many things, right? I wouldn't actually put any of this stuff here crossed out. I would just not put it at all, because you want this to show the value of this and this. And right now it feels equal almost, even though these are crossed out, it feels weighted the same. Does that make sense? All right. So pro life checklist, basic engagement prompts, guided flow to help you stay on track, simple prompts to avoid awkward silence, beginners. I'm telling you, I'm willing to try your software, because this is my problem every single week. It will be loop sided. Oh, lopsided. Yeah. I know what you mean. I don't go for even. Um, just go for like. I understand what you're saying. So I get your point. Okay, so two ways you could do it. One is because I get the symmetry problem. I'm obsessed with that kind of stuff too, so it makes sense. Any other answer I would give you, I'd be like, who cares? But I understand where your point, as from coming from a design type of perspective. Okay, so you got a couple of options. Maybe make this a little bit better, and then slim this down a little bit, right? And then give them the option to kind of expand it if they want to see the full details. Because the truth is, you also don't want to like oversell a whole bunch of features, because it gets too complicated, right? Most people are simple creatures, including myself, right? They just want a couple, five, six, couple more. So let me see. Who's a good example of this? I'm just trying to think. I'm just randomly thinking of websites here, okay? I don't know any of these, whether they're good examples or not, but I'm going to try and see if I could find one for you. No, not triple. Oh, who am I? Like, give me a good SaaS product that I could. You know what? Here, let's do this. Let's do. Here's where we go. Find. You want to find SaaS product? Product hunt. Okay. Product hunt. Best soft launches. So let's go to launches because these are all new stuff that are they're kind of launching right now. Open source. We don't want to do open source. Get hired. Find engineers faster. Let's do this one here. Let's do get TUV, whatever this is. And then let's find a competitor to you because there's probably one out there. What is it? So what would you consider? Go live? Live? Um, what would you be considered? You would be considered like a creator? Yeah, creator. Live streaming, AI streaming, maybe. All streams. Let's see. Let's try one of these guys. Stream live online. Let's try one of these. Let's try one of these. Okay, so let's go to their website. Just as an example. Oh, great. First impression, terrible. Let's go to get hired. So the fastest way to hire 10x engineers, okay? I know exactly what they're doing. 100%, right? To hire 100x engineers, okay? I know exactly who it is. You're looking for the best of the best of the best engineers, period. Okay? And then now this is, I think this is more of a service than any single thing else. Right here. Okay, actually, this is half decent example, right? So you simplify the list and you just basically just, this is probably not a 100% thing, but it basically, you put the every single thing in the free and then plus more kind of deal, and then you would have like an extended link kind of deal. Let me see if I could find one more and then we'll move on. Promise. Let's see. Okay, not a tool, a hire. Are they all hiring thing, right? Victor is an AI co-worker that connects 300,000 plus tools and docs to work in. Okay, hang on a second. So not a tool, a hire. Okay, a little bit broad, but I understand. Okay, hang on. Let's go to pricing. Okay, where's pricing? Nope. What? Where's pricing? Okay, they got, yeah, see all plans. Okay, here we go. Okay, kind of like this, right? So check, and then you just got every single thing in Teams, whatever. But super, super smart, because people, what happens is people just get overwhelmed. That's the problem with most people, right? Once they see a bunch of feature, they don't know what they want, right? Because every single thing here is kind of, it almost feels like everything is important and every single thing is not important, if that makes sense, right? But anyway, you get the idea. I love, actually, I love the top background, the live on air, like it's, I'll tell you the feel that I get right off the top. It feels very influencer. Like it feels like I'm targeting influencers, like the Instagram crowd kind of deal, right? So I worked hard on the design. Yeah, no, I can tell it actually looks good. It does not feel vibe coded. It has vibe coded colors, but it does not feel vibe coded. So yeah, no, good job. So are you? So is it actually? Let's go back and do one more thing here. Is it if I do try for free and I try to log in, will it work? Will it log in with magic link? Okay, so you're using Dwayne UNFINISED at Gmail. Send magic link. So are you using Better Auth? Let's see. Did it come true? No, wrong email address. Dwayne unfinished. Amplify. 1 month. Lovable. Don't see it yet. Lovable app is here. Updates. No, not yet. Maybe it'll take a while. Resend and Superbase. I worked on the resend and Superbase. Resend and Superbase. Got you. Email for developers. Yeah, I'm with you. Got it. How do you like Refend? I've never used them. $20 a month, 300 emails per month free. Do they do? Yeah, they do email SMTP. Oh, they don't do auth. It's not an authentication provider. SMTP inbound broadcast messages. I see your profile. Got it. So it doesn't do authentication. Did you put an email correct? Maybe I didn't. I might have mistyped it. It's possible. It's possible. Let's try it again. No, let me see. Dwayne, Dwain, Oh no, I missed the N. Sorry, my bad. That was me. Totally my fault. Dwainb. No, Dwayne, Uninfiniseed at gmail.com. There we go. My bad. There we go. Confirm live. Perfect. Okay. So I choose platform. Let's chat. Okay, what would I choose here? Let's chat, get to know me. Sure. Promote my business. Let's do that. Go live checklist. Define your topic. I love the interface. I really do. Prepare talking points. You know, I need this checklist every single week because I have the same problem. Okay, so hang on. So wait. How do I get back to? I just want to go back to home. Okay, so check my access. How many followers do you have? 500 plus. You're ready to scale. 500 plus developers means you can go live. Okay. What if I have under? Not eligible yet. Okay. Got you. Okay. Target guide, TikTok guide. Okay, no violence. Yeah, okay, got that. And then pro. Okay, so what can I do? So I just basically get some checklist type items on the free, but I can't go live at all. Right? Is that what you're saying? On the free. Okay, so my issue is here right now is I've gotten a checklist, but I'm gonna make a counter argument. I could do my checklist on Excel, right? Check my access. Okay, sure. But I haven't connected my counters yet. So you have all these options here that are pro, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with this here, right? But if I do title generator as an example, I have to pay. But I haven't necessarily gotten the value yet, if you know what I mean, right? Like you haven't hooked me as yet. All you've done is entice me to explore your tool, but you haven't given me the one thing, and it's just one you need, the one thing that's going to keep me like grounded to say like, you know what, I'm going to come back and use this tool because I got some value out of it, even if it's like I went live once or twice on it and it just felt like I was able to have a real conversation with people even though I wasn't prepared. I was like, okay, I can do this. I feel confident. Oh, you want to go live more times? All right, tell you what, now pay us, and you could go more than once a week, or more than twice a month, or whatever that number is, the kind of thing, right? I get you're still working on it. I'm just kind of giving you sort of my 2 cents on where I think there's some, right, because I could see all of this stuff here, but I just haven't have it that feel. So I think what you need to do is on the free tier is get them that one, just the one thing that keeps them sort of like interested in it, right? Otherwise, this feels really, really good. I like the thing refresh. Look at you giving me God access. Sweet. Um, so live flow builder. Okay. So step one, hook, grab attention. So okay, so now I have questions. So introduce yourself. Okay, got you. But wait, hang on. So how do I input, is there a way for me to input any information to be able to like, what do I say, right? Generate a script. Okay, so do people, okay, so there's one little caveat here. It doesn't know any single thing about my businesses yet, right? So for example, it's if that's sorry, let's bring her on the call via talk, if that's okay. Uh, you're asking some really important question. That would actually be great if I actually knew how to do it for next week. That's my promise to you. I will commit to that for next week. I have no idea how to even begin doing something like that on TikTok. You guys think I'm an expert on TikTok? That's actually a really fantastic idea. In fact, I really like that idea, and I'm gonna do that. Incorporate it into my life. I just multi guess. Oh, hang on, let me see. Let's see. How would you invite? Oh, okay. Maybe I can do that. Invite sent. You know what? I'm assuming that that she wants to come on live thing. Oh, you're there. Oh, cool. Well, that's awesome. Look at that. Okay. Uh, I'm sorry. Oh, you do. Okay, so you know this way better than I do. Okay, fantastic. There we go. Yeah, look, we got people that are actually happy. This is a good question. That never crossed my brain. So yes, okay, fair enough. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so hang on. Okay, so now you got the full floor to yourself. So tell me about the problem, because I understand the problem, but for the rest of the audience, I don't really understand. Tell me about like what is it the goal is, or some of the nuances that you've experienced and why you're building it. Okay. Hmm. Right. Right. Yeah. Hmm. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Integration. Got you. Hmm. Okay. Mm. Right. Right. Yes. Got you. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. 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 I The fact that you just said it's gonna be off balance, I'm like, yeah, we got a designer in the house. I know exactly where you're at. Don't worry. You're in safe territory here. Right, right. Got you. Got you. Okay. Okay. Right. Go. Yeah. Oh, nice. Really? That's fantastic. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm really really happy to hear that. And I hope you shout that to the rooftop because there's more people needs to know about Cloudflare for sure. And when they hear about it, you tell them that they should start paying me for this free service that I'm doing. But no, I there's no there's nothing here. I no, to be fair, I have talked to the actual guys at Cloudflare just purely for through social media and some of the stuff that I've had opinions about and they've messaged me a couple times, but I no not affiliated with them from a financial standpoint in any way. Um, so okay, so hang on. By the way, while I have you here, can you pronounce your name for my dyslexia, please? Colette. Okay, got it. Okay, it's in my brain. I will remember it now. It's just yeah, the words just I was like I don't know what to do here. Okay, so that's fantastic. Okay, so launch date. When are you thinking about launching this? What do you have to do next? Well, what's your game plan? Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh wow, let's do it. Okay. Wow. I love the ambition. Great. That's fantastic. Okay, fair enough. So I'll tell you what, you have one beta tester for sure, me. Because this is something so I have probably so I want to start going live for my lead score, which is my actual, software. And then I want to start going live for my Snap Suite, which is I don't even know how many TikTok I have users on that front. But but those are the two different channels I wanted. So this is interesting to me because I'm really trying to explore a model of going live every day, not for vibe coding, but just like I said, for the other things. And I was like, I don't know what to talk about. Like I'm just at a loss, and as you know, the time is sort of the challenge here. So this app actually really appeals to me. I think you're solving a real problem. It definitely has a niche audience. As I mentioned to you, I think you need to kind of like carve out the audience a little bit more. um it feels very specific to TikTok more than the other platforms. Is that a bias because you're no? Okay, fair enough. So it's agnostic. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, okay, fair enough. Awesome. Yeah, so the only thing that okay, so hang on, there was one more thing I wanted to say, which was that what I don't see on here is me putting in my information about my business. Got it. Okay. 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 Right. Got okay. Right. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Right. Got it. Okay, so we could. You know what? We'll spend a little time on that because I wanted to talk about that today. Sort of the Cloudflare portion of it. It'll actually make a lot of sense based on what you're doing right now. Because I can imagine if you just had like a one liner, like a one text box that literally just tell them, give me one line of tell me about your business with one line and your website, or if they have one, right? That would be enough for you to generate a lot more customized content for all of the other parts, especially like the what to talk about, the topics, that kind of stuff, right? It could be very, very hyper specific to thing, and it would just be the equivalent of just spinning up one Cloudflare worker and having that talk to cloud worker. In fact, we're going to do it because I think that's actually really relevant to what you're doing, so I want to keep it relevant. Showing you the API gateway. Have you used that at all? The API gateway? PI. Okay, okay. So we'll talk about that. It'll help you. Okay, API. Directly to OpenAI or through Cloudflare? Got it. Okay, so we'll look into how to do it through Cloudflare. Only because Cloudflare allows you to do a couple things. One is it allows you to experiment with different models. So you could use a really, really cheap model for certain things, and then you could use for your pay user, you could use a more expensive model and still be able to give the cheap users a sort of a tier where they could still get some value, right? And kind of feel the usage and get it right. And then for your paid tier, they could just use the more expensive ones, and you'd be able to still make money from it, right? So fantastic. This has been good. Any single thing else before we? I think we'll kind of continue, but I want to. Anything else you want to add while I have you on this? What would you call this? Right. Yeah. Right. Balance. Yes. 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 No. Fantastic. So listen, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you randomly ad hoc jumping on live, which is weird for me because I don't do this. Okay, just to be clear, like this is new to me. I feel like I'm a radio talk host or something. So that's funny. So hang on. So you're on live on a regular basis? Like how often? Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Got it. Yep. Understood. Understood. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. 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 Okay. So you guys heard this? Go check out Claudette. Oh my goodness, the name is gonna Colette. Okay. Let me write it. Colet. Okay. There we go. Yes, Colette. So listen. Yes, it's been Dwayne. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining and thank you for jumping on and for being such a wonderful sort of super fan. I'll call you at this particular point if that's a thing. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And, yes. So awesome. Okay, we're gonna talk about AI thing. No, I have no idea how to kick you out of this. Okay, you did. Okay, you did great. Because I was like, okay, guys, you're asking me to do too much. So, that was a fantastic idea. Me Mo, I think it is. Yeah, no, you actually that was really good. Thank you for just I'm just pulling up your profile here. Thanks for that. That was actually such a wonderful idea. In fact, I'm going to do this every Friday, or at least I'll try to, or at least for the TikTok. Hopefully, the guys on YouTube heard that. I should have thought about that part. I think so. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. So okay, let's talk about let's move forward a little bit. That was actually fantastic. I'm really happy that you did that, Colette. There we go. So let's see. So keys become a problem when the service grows. Okay, so we will skip some of this stuff here. Scale without cost, tracking dangerous. Okay, we talked about all this type of stuff. Lead and ranking server. True to example uploaded file. Okay, so let's do the open. Let's do the gateway thing. Let's do the gateway. Um, let's do the gateway. I'm gonna skip this for now. I'm gonna talk about the gateway because I want to make it relevant. Now, the truth is, this is a free plan, so I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to try to do it through the free plan. If not, then I'll pay. I'll see if I could get it set up. So, um, actually, for those who don't know, and Colette mentioned a couple things. So let's do it this way. I'm going to go to Lovable. We'll do it through Lovable, just so at least I kind of show the full flow. So I'll pick a brand random app that I'm. Let me see. What do I have here that I could just pull over as a. Oh, this was just a pricing page. I don't want to do that. I was experimenting with oh yeah, actually yeah. Let's do the pricing calculator. So we'll take this pricing calculator. We'll publish it to a brand new Cloudflare account. So what I'll do is I'm gonna push this over to my GitHub configure and reconnect main. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. Token profit. Okay, so that's what it's called there. Then we're gonna go across to Cloudflare. Now the truth is, I don't know if Cloudflare will allow me to connect my account, the same account twice. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's find out. If not, then I will do it on the other side. So do it unfinished. Create an app. If not, yeah. So let's see. Connect to GitHub, and is it this one here? Yeah, tokens profit. Doing demo. Yeah, see, I had to. Let me see if, oh, doing demo. Okay, I do. Turns out to have a different GitHub Copilot thing. Okay, let's do this. Bear with me for 1 second here. I'm going to try to see if I could pull over a real application. I just have to get into GitHub and connect to my demo account if I have one. See if I could log out to this, sign out, and then sign in. And then do we have a, apparently I have a demo account that I didn't know about. Let's see. Doing unfinished. So we're gonna go with doing unfinished. Okay, let's do this. Connect. I'm trying to. Okay, so let me just do it this here. Okay, here, perfect. Okay, so then we'll have a real application in. Okay, so I have. Okay, so what I have to do now? Let's go back to Lovable. I'm gonna connect the speech application, the pricing page. We're gonna change it from this. We're gonna configure. Come on. How do I configure another one? Edit, no. Configure, come on. Okay, 1 second. Click on GitHub, click on configure. Why wouldn't configure work? Annoying. Okay, hang on. Let's go to here. Let's go to settings. Let's go to GitHub. There we go. Let's unlink this. And unlink this one here as well too. Linked primary. Okay, so how do I go back now, and can I unlink it from view in your project? Oh my goodness. Of course. Okay, we might have to do another website that is not already connected, because apparently I can't unlink. I should be able to unlink it, but for some reason I can't unlink it. Publish here. Okay, tell you what, we'll just do it the old school way. We're gonna pull it down because I don't know why I can't click on this publish button. It's annoying. Okay, bear with me for 1 more second. Let's find another one of my projects that I have that I haven't actually linked as yet. Let's go with lead score sidekick. Let's go with what do we go with? This one, daily dopamine. Get your money. Let's okay, here. Let's try this one. Flea family tree, maybe. Is this connected? Connect to GitHub. There we go. Okay. So sorry, I'm having trouble. Add connection. Try in a little while. Add account. Perfect. Go to your GitHub profile. Go to your personal profile. Is it connected now? There we go. Connected. And go back. Publish. So no, to GitHub. Connect to GitHub. Yes. I added the account already. What are you doing? Connect. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to I'm just connecting to a different demo account. That was all. So that was taking a little bit of time. Sorry about that. All right, good. So this is our GitHub. It's called, what did we call it? It's called Family Tree Spark. So just whatever the website is, refresh it. We should see it here. Fantastic. Okay, so now we have that in GitHub. So this is the website that came across from Lovable. We're going to pull that over to Cloudflare now. Cloudflare, log in, doing unfinished. There we go. We're going to click on compute. We're going to click on workers. We're going to click on new application. Did I go too fast for you guys? Hopefully not. Click on connect to Google. So connect. Then we're going to choose family tree. There we go. Click on this. And family tree Spark, sure. Deploy. Okay. So that's going to pull our Lovable website. For those who don't know, that's going to pull our Lovable website from here to GitHub, from GitHub over to Cloudflare. It's as simple as that. Give it a couple of minutes or a second or two. It's going to basically build the application, and in theory, generally speaking, it'll work. Sometimes there's hiccups with, like, see here, for example, we might have some lock in file issues or something like that. So in the event that you have this type of problems, okay, let's do the rebuild and see what happens. If not, then I'll show you what to do to get it going. Because this happens every now and again. Sometimes it's not 100% seamless. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come down, bring it down to GitHub CLI, bring it down to your local computer. I've got 6 workers on Cloudflare. Fantastic. I could do it faster in VS Code. Yes, you can. This is 100% true. I'm trying to do it for non-technical people as well too. That's my problem. So let's go to my projects. I'm gonna do a open in terminal, and we're gonna basically just pull this down here. GitHub reclone repo. Yeah, could not resolve what? Could not resolve repo, the name Dwayne. Oh, you know what? I'm logged in as, oh my goodness. Okay, this is gonna be a nightmare. I'm sorry. It's all because I'm logged in as git g8 log out. G8 log I'm oh my goodness. How do you log out here? Git. Come on. GH. Okay. I need to log out. Hang on. Gotta go to ChatGPT here. See, what I should do is really just set up a computer specifically for this. How do I log out of GitHub CLI? GitHub CLI. Auth logout. There we go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna log out of this guy, and then we're gonna log in again. GHAUTH LOGIN GitHub HTTPS git credentials, yes. Log in with browser, yes. It's gonna open up a browser somewhere. Enter, yes. Continue. And then I need to put this code in here. Copy. I'm gonna make this bigger so you guys can see it. There. Authorize. Okay, fantastic. All right, so now we could go do that. Okay. All right, so now we could bring this clone. Okay, so I'm cloning the repo locally, bringing it into VS Code, CD into that, family, no, CD family -tree, Spark, CD code. All right, so now we're in here. Fantastic. Let's go find that error message that we had from Cloudflare. Let's just see what it was. And then I'm going to show you guys a way to solve this problem. Okay, so yeah, so we got a lock file problem here, which is just a bunch of npm problems. So we'll just drop it inside of here, get that fix, and then when we shove this up to GitHub, then at least it'll build automatically the next time. So give it 1 second. So bun lock file issues, yada yada yada. I've got 6 workers on Cloudflare. That's fantastic. What are they doing? Are they making you money? Workers, get it? You guys don't laugh at my cheesy jokes. So anyway, so this is fixing this lock file issue, which doesn't matter to us what it's doing. Okay, we're gonna now commit those changes using bun, submit it, and then that should, Lovable is known for causing all kinds of lock files. Yes, this is definitely an issue. All right, but that's fine. This is why we have AI. We don't have to think about all this kind of madness, right? And so I just pushed that file back up, and so now it's building on Cloudflare. And again, this is 100% brand new account, and I'm doing this specifically for my newbie people that have never really seen sort of the Cloudflare stuff. I know that you guys kind of know the Cloudflare thing, but for my newbies. Okay, so while that's being built, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go talk about this AI thing. So Again, there's a reason why I'm recommending this, okay? Cloudflare AI Gateway, right? Because let me see if I can make this bigger. Can I make this bigger? This is the code. Let me see. I don't know if maybe, yeah, okay. This is all you need to swap out AI models. So the URL is always the same, basically. It's just your account. Okay, you got your headers for your token or whatever, and basically you're just posting a payload. You tell OpenAI, or sorry, you tell Cloudflare what the model is. You tell it the role, right? And then you tell it the content. So for you, Colette, very simple. I can't edit this, can I? It would be, let me just take just this part here because I'm just going to just do the docs version of it just so we can walk through it to show you what you're going to be doing for your app. Okay. So bold, black, bold, make it bigger, maybe horizontal, maybe page setup, language. Can I do, how do I work on this stuff? I never can remember how to do basic things in this. Page setup. Okay, never mind. Yeah, can't remember. Okay, so anyway, what you're gonna do is you have the model. This model here is using Llama, right? The 3 billion thing. The role here is a user. So this by user is literally what your prompt is, right? So in your particular case, you'd have a text box that would basically be feeding this, and you would say, in your particular case, it would be, you would say, actually, you would do two things. I would put one more, what would I call that? Command. Okay, one more JSON object, if you will, and I would change the role to system, and it would be role, and over here system. Okay, and then here you would have your instructions. So what's the instructions? You would say something like, you are a content 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 a content live specialist or something like that. LIVESPECIALIST. Don't worry about spelling. You're a content live specialist. Your job is to take basic info about the business and create and expand it, given the user ideas on how to promote their business on live social media platforms. Okay, this is just an example. Obviously, it's not a full thing, but you know the drill, right? Take it, put it over to ChatGPT, say, hey, can you take this prompt and expand it for me? Use that, paste that, right? Get a full extended prompt, bring it back into OpenAI, right? You're a live content creator. Your job is to take basic information about my business and everything, right? The business may provide details such as industry, blah, 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 all this type of stuff. Okay. Then you're going to take that, and then so now we have a role, right? The expanded role based on what you got with ChatGPT. And then here you're going to ask the question about the business in your app, and you're going to shove it into this section here. So for example, with me, it's going to say my business is about lead scoring. So I have a lead scoring SaaS platform that I don't know, that I help salespeople with. Sales people close more deals. Okay, so that's my prompt, right? This is just the message that I'm going to send with the token, and then here I just need to tell it what model I want to use. So let's go look at that. So here, AI search, no, sorry, models. Okay, I have to zoom out a little bit here. Um, and there's every model. Okay, there's OpenAI in here. There's GPT-5. There's GPT whatever. Okay, so you don't have to think about, oh, I have to change my code and all this type of stuff. You literally just um, use the AI gateway, okay, which is this code here, and I'm going to show you how to do it in a real worker in a sec. I just want to give you the concept first. The the worker will always call this code consistently, taking in your prompt, whatever that is, and then you could keep experimenting with the model by just changing the model. Or you could literally have in your code an if and else block. You could say, if it's a free tier, send this to OpenAI, to the gateway. If it's a paid tier, send this to the API gateway. And but more importantly, what this allows you to do is essentially to throttle the costs based on the um, the tier that they're on, right? So Llama, right? Open source, free, LAMA, right? So open source free. Experiment with these models, see how they work. If not, then you say, okay, you know what? That's not working too well. Let's do a mini, right? And which ones are mini? We could do Flash, Gemini Flash, or we could use a 04, which is pretty cheap, right? And so the only thing, when you click on it, the only thing that you have to do is copy. There's the here model. You just have to copy that string. That's all it is, right? Now they do give you, so because this entire thing here is consistent. This is literally how you would call every single model. So let me give you this in actual practice. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to GPT. No, what am I doing? So give me an example of calling open gateway on a Cloudflare worker using um, two different models. If I'm on a free tier, use Llama. If I'm on a paid tier, use OpenAI, and put an if and else statement, and then abstract into a separate file the um, the inputs, so prompts and all that type of stuff. Just put it in a separate file and just basically put the layout. I'm using Cloudflare OpenAI Gateway, making the code as simple as possible. I'm not trying to do production code. I just want to do a demo code. Okay, and let's just drop that inside of here just for the sake of dropping it. So at least it has some concept on what to do, and then we can kind of talk through it. But this is the point. Okay, while that's doing, let's go back to our worker. See if we got our worker up and running. Oh, really? Of course. We got to build there again. Okay, so what's the build error here? So this version of Vite. Okay, so we just version in stupid problems. Like it's just not even a thing, but it's just annoying thing. So you guys know the drill. Copy this, take it back over to VS Code, paste it in, let it figure out what the problem is, and I should just tell it, just can you commit the code after you're done? Can you commit the code after you're finished? And just tell it that, and then it'll just go. So where are we? OpenAI. Yes. Okay. Right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a JSON object that binds. So again, in your Wrangler, your Cloudflare worker, for those who don't know, always have a Wrangler file. It's either a Wrangler file or a TOML file. This is really just a config file, just to make sure that the people that don't know this stuff understand. And see here, I have the name of the the name of my file itself, or the worker. Sorry, lose my thought for a second. The starting page index, and then here is my binding. This is literally what it will use to call the OpenAI. So that's all I need in one file. Then on my inputs file, I just have another file that I'm going to have the two different models. So you see here, I have free tier model and paid tier model, right? And again, I'm just using those strings. Those strings are coming straight from OpenAI because I went there and I browsed and I found the model that I care about, right? And I just brought it over into this, and now I have a free model and a paid model. And then I have sort of like my prompt, right? Which is just my basic built-in prompt here, okay? And then come down a little bit more. Now this is the actual code. So this is literally the worker code here, okay? So I'm just importing all of the stuff that we just showed just now. And now I have on my free tier, Okay, I'm gonna just basically build up my prompt, and I just call it build prompt, which is basically just this. It's literally just composing all this stuff, right? So if it's free, right? Obviously, I'm oversimplifying, but just giving you the concept here so you can understand. If it's free, if it's paid, right? And then this is the code that you're gonna run. It's literally as simple as this. This is the cool thing about OpenAI. So environment.ai.run. This is the model, because again, that's coming from my previous file that I have with the model, and right, just to keep things simple. And then this is the input, which is obviously the file that I imported, and then this is my API gateway ID, which is coming from here, right? So that's it. That's it. That's the whole thing. And this literally solves a really simple, complex problem for you, which is how do you switch the models depending on the tier, depending on the questions that they're asking for, depending on the complexity. So, for example, just going back to you a little bit more, Colette, um, you might you might want to use a cheap model for, let's just say, hook generator, okay? Because you might just generate a whole bunch of them, and people might keep doing that over and over again. But something like talk prompts, maybe, right? You might want to use a slightly more expensive model, on maybe like what would be another one? Maybe TikTok, not guidelines, but generate live ideas. Maybe you might want to use a slightly more expensive model. So you can kind of play around with this according to the needs. More importantly, though, is you can come into the gateway, okay, and you do have to enable billing for this, but now you can set up a budget. You could say from an open gateway, just give me $20, and like whenever that $20 done, then you can upgrade. So it really allows you to kind of keep your costs and just really throttle things down. And they have a ton of open source model, so you can kind of play with things a little bit. Okay, let's get caught up on the questions here. So connect to GitHub. Okay, okay, right. So this was the. Oh, hang on. Um, okay, I'm trying to get caught up on the questions here. Let me just think here. One, if we build something together, or you teach us how to build something that we can use use a solid skill. You have content. Tell us how to repeat everyone. Build an agent. What about the basic agent loop? Um, okay, this is a little more complicated of a question. I'm going to dissect it in a bit. Let me just get to some of the others. So, what is the strategy to build several payment methods to the site? Okay, that's an interesting one. So, payment methods. Let me see what else we got, and then we'll kind of tackle them in sort of batches. Sorry, can you call Colette? Can we call you Cole? Okay, fair enough. Let's just do that. Maybe very desire an AI powered price to be never level. Okay, got you. Sure. Connect GitHub. Let creates lovable credits. How do I do it faster in V? Oh, I could do it faster in VS Code. Yeah, okay, got that. I got 6. Okay, just getting caught up right there. Lovable, do you know? Causing the lock files. Oh, you know what? The lock file thing is just annoying with lovable in itself. Please, how can I join your full class? So to join the full class is there's no class. It's just a community, my friend. But you can go to dwayne.me/school, and then I'll backtrack on the other questions. So go there, and you could jump in, and we could and think it's a free community, and feel free to ask your questions in there. Also, what was the other one? Lovable has known, yeah, these lock file things are a thing. That's the only thing I haven't figured out with Lovable. I think what it was happening is they're basically just they're generating older, they're using slightly older models, and the models are just not up to date with the latest stuff, and so it's just causing some issues. Bun has been known for lock file problems before in the past, so I think basically it's literally just a practice of them just using older implementation um, of development, practices that just keeps changing by the second. That being said, though, if you do come into my classroom and you go down to Cloudflare Essentials, okay, this is no longer the case. This thing took me 30 minutes to set up the last time. If you come to the last video here, and you scroll down, there's a whole troubleshooting. Let me see if it's here. Is it this one here? I gotta go. Let me just do troubleshoot. Trouble. Yeah, see, troubleshoot pages versus worker. This is not a thing anymore. Just want to be clear. This is when we were transitioning between worker and pages. For those who don't know, the original worker was called Cloudflare Pages, and the workers were separate. And then Cloudflare merged them together, and there was a transition period where things were just messy and a lot of things would break. So every time I tried to deploy a lovable app to Cloudflare, it would just break all the time. So what I did in this video here, it took me a while. It literally was a 30 minutes. I need to redo this video because it's a 5 minutes job, but it just took a while to do it. And I left the video up because I wanted people to see like the real challenges that you might run into. But anyway, I troubleshooted every single problem that existed in Cloudflare. If you literally just copy this entire troubleshooting problems here, it tells the AI exactly what the problem is, what to fix, and what to do, and it'll just upgrade the entire project, and you never have to think about it. Just come in here and literally just copy this and just say, use this to fix your problems, and it'll just do every single thing properly the first time. I've tried it out multiple times and it just works consistently, especially when you're coming from Lovable. So just a little info for you guys there. So that's a reason by itself to join the community, because I've been, or at least with this particular one, I tried to be a little bit more consistent with it. So, but yeah, okay. So is there? Let's see if the Cloudflare thing is actually done. If not, we're gonna have to spend a little bit more second or two just giving it some love. Of course not. Of course not. Right? We're on a live. So okay, now we're at the deployment stage. So it's not too bad. It's just the last part of it. Oh, did it? Hang on. Did it submit the error? Yeah. Okay. It did push. It committed it, but it didn't push it. Of course. Okay. Can you make a rule that every single time you make a change, you just automatically just push it up to the main branch? Like, do not ask me any questions. Fix the problems and then push it up. Just get your job done. So yeah. So anyway, so it's gonna push it up. It's gonna build it, and hopefully we don't have to deal with that again. But the point is this: with that, I can now do, let's do this. So we're just going to do one more code thingy. I'm going to take this exact same piece of code that I just told you about, Colette, and we're going to get it to create a worker, just so at least we kind of see the basics of it. That's all. Because it's a little bit easier in VS Code versus this. So I'm going to say, can you create a worker for me and basically set it up with the ability to switch between AI models, free and paid, using this as a guideline? Take the existing code that I have and put it into a folder, a separate folder called front end, and then you're going to put the worker in the back end. Okay, so all I'm doing here is just making sure that I separate my folder, because again, we talked about this here, but I'm just to recap for my people that kind of joined a little bit late. Is we want to make sure that we put every single thing in a mono repo, right? Where is it? It's somewhere around. I think it's in my other, yeah, somewhere over here. Where are you? This one here, right? So we might have all these different projects, right? Front end, back end, etc. All that type of stuff. All I'm doing is basically saying, you know what? Give me a folder. I'm going to call it front end, right? And end, and that's going to have my front end code inside of it. And then I'm going to have another one, and I'm going to call it back end. That's it. That's all I'm doing. It just allows me to just keep a little bit more organized, right? So here I got a front end folder. I just took that website project, put it into the front end folder and thing. And then just so you know, on Cloudflare, if you're doing this on Cloudflare, you do have to tell Cloudflare that it's it's going to be in a subfolder. There's a way to do that on Cloudflare, just in case you guys don't know. Okay, hang on. Yeah, so here. And in Cloudflare, of course, it build failed, and I should have waited until instead of changing it. But in Cloudflare, in the deployment section, if you're gonna do, where is it? No, it's in the build. It's in the build. Here we go. Manage. So here you need to. Oops, sorry. So edit. So here it's going to be branch control paths. There we go. Include watch paths. So you need to edit this, and you need to tell it the folder. So not star, it needs to be slash front end. Okay, because it needs to watch that folder to be able to know where to find the files in order to build the project. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So it's gonna look in the front end folder for that kind of stuff, because I just moved it over to a front end folder. So on the back end, right, we got a inputs folder. Here we go. Make this bigger so everybody can see it. Hide this and hide this for now. No. Hide this for now, right? Right, and my I'm just separating some variables, so I just got a gateway ID. I got one for my free model. I got one model for my paid, and again, that's coming from the model names. I didn't make this stuff up. I'm just setting up my prompt, so at least I have this. I'm going to put this in the community, by the way, so at least you have a guide. I know you could do this on your own, but I'll just it's just so it's just give you a starting point. So that's my input, and then I import that. Right, from my inputs, I import the API gateway, the free model, the build model, and then the build input, right, which is just this function that basically just composes all of them together. That's all it does, right? And then yes, I'm gonna put it in the school because this is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing that I don't normally do enough of. So I'm gonna put it in the school so at least you guys can go there. And then let me zoom out a little bit more here. So now I have that. Right, like I said, you're gonna take in so the only thing that you would want to do with this code now is you'd want to be able to allow inputs to change, right? Because it's pretty standard, except that the problem is that your inputs are fixed, right? So your system prompt is always going to be fixed. So actually, let's just do it. We're going to take that system prompt. We're going to go to, where's the system prompt that we generated? This one here, right? So you are a live content creator specialist, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. We're going to copy that. And then we're just going to replace this basic prompt with this one. Okay. Now, the problem here is that it needs to be escaped. And what would be the best way to do that without breaking every single thing? Let's just do it this way. Let's go with can you make it into a one-liner so I could just paste it, copy and paste it? It'll just be easier. No. Give me the entire prompt as a one-liner. What are you doing, bro? You're a social media content creator. No. I need the entire prompt as a one-liner with all of the entire prompt as a one-liner. Right? So, yeah, okay, there we go, right? So now I can just copy this. It just makes it easier for me. And then VS Code will deal with because you don't, the AI doesn't need to format it, right? Like it doesn't need formatting. So it's just one line that you just paste there thing. And then the prompt will, I can now input this from the user, which will then come in from the API, right? So I could pass the prompt into this. So that's the only change I'll need to make on this here is to basically say, so right now I have kind of a basic prompt, right? But we're gonna get that from a post request. So let's just do it this way. So hang on. Now I'm doing craziness here. So all we want to do is say, can you make it so that if I do that I could take the prompt in from a JSON, and then if you could give me a sample HTTP file that I could call the worker to test it, make sure that it's good. The prompt should be a description of my SaaS business, a very short prompt description of my SaaS business that is focused on selling leads, or sorry, is focused on lead scoring. Right? So, okay. Well, let's come in. Let's see. Go back here. Okay, I didn't push the build for that one. So let's see. I also had. Okay, hang on. Let me just me thinking of integrating Zapier, making API strip, Calendly, Strive, and Plum. Please don't limit the questions to payments method have. Okay, hang on. Sorry, too much question. Please don't limit the questions to payments methods. Half me thinking integration Zapier, make API payment, Calendly, Stripe, and yeah. So the real question is how much integration do you have to do, right, to kind of get to a state of balance. um Now again, this is one of those do as I say, not as I do, okay, because I am on one of the most ambitious projects that I've ever done, period, which is I got voice integration in my entire app, and I got, phone numbers in, and I've got um domain, like it just keeps adding and adding and adding, and I was like, I've given myself a deadline by the end of May, like we're done, no more features, no more features. But you know the real challenge is how do you want to get all this stuff integrated? Should you be integrating every single thing? And the answer is you need to use a third party service. So na10, everybody knows na10, right? Everybody knows na10. This is the only way that I can remember this company, okay? So n8n, oops, no, sorry, n8n AI, okay, is part of a group of a part of a kind of a what do I call them? How would I describe them as? They're part of a like a it's not really a non-profit organization, but they're part of like a code of conduct or something. So how would I find that again? I never can remember how to find it, but it's super important. Let me find it for you guys, because then you'll see. So hang on, bear with me for 1 second here. I'm gonna find it for you. So okay, N8N, I think it's like N8N code of conduct. I don't know. Yeah, okay. N8N legal. Oh my goodness. Privacy policy, contact careers, press, tools, popular integration. This is the only way I can remember how to do it, and I can never find the company until okay, hang on. It'll be 2 seconds and then I'll find it. I promise you'll find it, and then it'll make sense what the hell I'm talking about. I promise. Give me a second. Give me a second. So AI joined the brand guidelines, top integration. Jeez. Okay, hang on. Security. N8N. Oh my goodness. N8N corporate. N8N. Why am I not finding this now? Where is... Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts now. It's gonna drive me nuts. Okay. I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna try to see if I could find it for you guys. So there is a site. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the site that basically deals with all integrations for it. Basically allows you to host your own integration to integrate with multiple platforms, so you don't have to think about it. So it's basically Zapier. I've used it. I think I can't remember the name. I can never remember the name. I don't know why. Okay, I'll find it for you guys in a bit. I'll find it. I'll come back to that. Okay, so free tier, paid tier. Okay, let's see what we got here. I'll come back to that. I promise I'm going to find it. Right, so we can now, where is it? Request tab body. Yes, okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. So HTTP, yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, so when you're posting,
Dwayne, here's
now
your reminder. Start workout.
this is a bit of an oversimplification,
Dwayne,
obviously.
here's your reminder.
Computer, stop. This is a bit of oversimplification, okay? Because it's passing in the tier. You obviously don't want that because somebody could hack it on the front end. You would pass in the ID of the user and then you would look up the actual tier. Okay, just keep that in mind. But for this conversation, we'll keep it simple. So when you pass the prompt, you're just passing this and this with the prompt. That's it. Okay. At the back end, you already have your system prompt sitting on the back end side. So you don't need to do any single thing here other than tweak it or whatever. And then this prompt sort of sits on the front end. So it's going to come in by the body and it's going to replace this. So prompt.tier and prompt prompt. In fact, you don't even need prompt.tier because you're going to check it on the back end, right? It's like, in fact, this code should be to do // to do validate that this user is either free or paid by Stripe or whatever else, right? So that's what you would do there. So you would never actually use that piece of code. The prompt, it will come in from the thing, and then basically every single thing else is pretty much the same. And then that's your AP this API gateway. Okay. And you could just give it a budget of like $10 or $20, doesn't matter. Cloudflare doesn't discriminate on how much budget you could do. But the cool thing is, let me see if I could use my account and kind of show you what you get from it. Let me just do it because I just recently started doing this here and the thing. So the cool thing is what you get from it. Come on, log in, log in, log in. Oh, of course, yeah. Okay, hang on. Phone. La la la. Of course, my phone. Okay, let me see if I can get it from my iPad here. If not, then I can't get into my account because my phone is dead. Da, da, da. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Authenticate. Okay. Cloudflare. Where are you? Where are you? Okay. That. That. That was. Okay, let's see. So AI gateway. Here we go. And then let me make sure that I blur some of this stuff up just purely for the sake of might be keys in here. And Cloudflare just does a terrible job with like hiding your information. I don't know why they do that. So actually that's not what I want to show you. I want to show you guys what you get. Yeah, okay, I think this is good, right? Let me see. Is there any information here? No. Yeah. Um Yeah, okay, fantastic. I just want to show you. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay. So this is what you get, okay? This is a new setup that I just kind of did. So when you come into API Gateway, once you turn it on, see, I just put a $20 budget. That's all I did, okay? And it just shows you the code so you can kind of play around with the different models. You could keep switching models to see what the code will look like. And if you notice, the only line that's changing is just that one line, okay? So I could jump from Grok to I could go to Mistral, or I could go to Perplexity, or I could go to Anthropic, or whatever it is, and then I could just kind of just keep switching models accordingly and just that one line. But more importantly is that you get the logs. It's unified logs across the different. Doesn't matter which provider you use. You get the Cloudflare logs, which is fantastic. Okay, it shows you the actual prompt, which is good. This is a little bit small. The UI is not the best. They're still working on the UI, but it shows you the prompt that you sent in, and it shows the response. So therefore, you could start to look and see what responses you're getting. You can just keep testing to kind of see the response, and this is actually a really good way to kind of test, right, to figure out what which models are really good for you. And then other than that, analytics, um, provider keys. And by the way, it's bring your own keys in some cases as well too, so you can keep adding your keys for all of these different models, right? They're kind of acting as a routing provider more than a thing. And then, or you could just put the $20 and then it'll just use it across, I think, the credits that you have. Okay, so hopefully that makes some sense. Let me see what you're saying. So you're saying I don't need OpenAI. Well, I'm not saying you don't need it. I have an OpenAI account. I still use OpenAI. I still sell a lot of data to OpenAI. But what I'm saying is that to simplify what you're basically building and be able to test multiple different models, the OpenAI router is a much better route to do because it gives you access to all the different models, right? And just to add visuals to that, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, let's go back to our Skelly draw here. Da, 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 la, 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 la. Where are you? Oh my goodness, come on. Come on. Okay. Gonna ignore this one here, right? So just to add some color to that, what it basically is the API gateway is acting as literally a gateway. Okay, hang on, hang on, hang on. If I could type API GATEWAY. How do you make this bigger? I don't know. Too many questions. Okay, large. There we go. Extra large. Okay. So OpenAI, so that's the gateway. And then what you're basically doing is These are model, right? Model. So this is OpenAI. This is Claude, right? This is Google. Okay, and you don't have to think about integration for any of those anymore. You just basically just use the gateway. You literally just change the name of the model that you want, and they'll deal with the basically call in the model on the back end. And you just put a budget here of, say, in my particular case, $20, right? I just put $20 budget, so 20, okay, and Cloudflare just deal with everything. And if I want to switch from this model to this model to this model to a cheap local storage open source model, I can do that. Okay. And so my app never have to think about any of that backend infrastructure. All it's doing is just talking to that one gateway, right? Which is exactly those lines of code I just showed you. It's literally just this. From your perspective, this is what you're sending. This is it. That's it. That's all you. Oops, too big. That's all you're sending. Just this. Just you're just calling your worker like that, and your worker is basically figuring out which is the model that you currently have live, and then it's just doing the rest. And then from Cloudflare perspective, you're seeing okay, too many windows open. But you understand what I mean, right? You're seeing the logs, you're able to see the entire thing. Okay, of course, of course it just brings me into my main account with everything live, so it doesn't matter, it's fine, it's okay, right? So you're seeing the logs here, and then from there you could start debugging, figuring out what the problems are, thing, right? This is still a work in progress. There's still some evolution process because it's all new for Cloudflare, right? They're really just trying to capitalize on this, but they have the infrastructure for it, and more importantly, the simplicity. That's the key word here. The simplicity is what really matters. So you could just think about your actual app and focus in on that kind of deal. So, yeah, well, awesome, great. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. So, I also had created a prompt for Lovable to hinder it from messing up. Oh, right, from the GitHub connection. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, no, happy to answer your question, and thank you for sharing your website with us, so at least we could kind of go live with it and kind of debug it in real time. So anyway, listen, I'm gonna try to close things off in a bit here. Um, if you guys got any last minute questions for me, by the way, join the community. So you got one member that's joining here, and again, there's lots more stuff coming into the community. I promise. Okay, right now it's just I'm under deadline pressure from multiple different projects, so time is of essence, and so as a result, I'm not able to commit as much time as I like. But as long as you guys keep showing up for these lives every single week, I promise to bring my all with some coffee, and we're gonna, try to hammer away at building something, and hopefully in providing you guys some value, or at least giving you some ideas on how you could improve your app, add some more capabilities without adding complexity, because that's what I'm big about. I'm about adding functionality without complexity at scale. That's the key word. Okay. We're not building a toy application. We're building a real application that could take millions of users or hundreds of millions of users, but we don't want the complexity, and we just want to get to the value, which is the outcome for the customer, right? All right, so let's see if we can wrap this up. Bring it home. Bring it home, Mr. Brown. Bring it home. So what do we want to do? We want to build small, just enough so that we can launch something, right? One workflow, one clear user, one measurable outcome, one service, one simple UI, one proof of pain point. Okay. Don't bring in a whole bunch of different services and make things complicated, and right. Just don't overbill. Keep it simple. Okay. And then here's a checklist again. I'm gonna put this in the chat so that in the group, so you guys can go in here and kind of download this and just kind of review it. But right, what is the business outcome? That's basically the goal, right? Make sure you got the business outcome very, very clear. Who is the user, and what is it that what is the smallest version that you could build for that user so that you could give value, right? In the case of Colette case, what we wanted to do is just make sure that on the free tier, we give just enough value so they want to upgrade to the paid tier. So if I were you, Colette, I would definitely be looking into the OpenAI gateway, and just giving them some tidbits, because you could use the cheap models to give them some value, let them understand what is it they're getting, customized to their business, so they're willing to pay for the higher tier. And what data, what data does it own? What secrets does it need? Right? It is just sort of the things that you need. And what proof can I launch this week? Right? So this is the other part that I didn't really talk about in this particular thing. So Colette, you mentioned you had a channel, and the idea is that you build something and then you talk about that something. Build something, talk about it. Build something, talk about it consistently, right? And you're building the perfect app, which is the idea of this, going live, right? So you can just keep building out content, but talking about the thing, and that's literally what I'm doing. I'm building and I'm talking about things. Building and I talk about it, right? Probably not doing as good enough a job, but it's a work in progress. Start simple, use providers, ship one feature, measure and fix, right? People straightforward, right? Um, and then this is the sort of like the high level, okay, right? Sort of like high level tasks that I'm trying to use this model of like what can you do in 20 minutes. I've been really trying to think about things in this kind of context or framework, right? So um, you know, what is the outcome? Who is the user? What is the smallest useful version of the thing? In this particular case, the free thing that we looked at today for Colette's app, and then um, excuse me, sort of like what is the metrics that we can use to identify that somebody is consistently using this thing and they're willing to pay, because you need to know that metrics, because you need something to kind of work against, in order to figure out whether it's a more people are going to pay for it, right? So actually, I'll give you one lasting closing thought on this here. So one of the things that I've been doing with these lives, as I keep doing them more and more, right? Like this is all free. I'm just sharing information and thing, but I'm also using it as a gauge of a metrics to figure out what people are interested in the market, right? And what I want to talk about, so that in the event, whenever I feel like building some sort of proper paid course or whatever, I actually know exactly what people are interested in and what they want to talk about, or what they're probably willing to pay for, right? Just purely based on the interest and the numbers. So that's kind of the mission and the goal, is really just to kind of test the market and understand. And what can I say? You guys are my guinea pigs. So, but anyway, hopefully you're getting some value, and hopefully I'm giving you some value, and it's kind of a not just a community, but a mutual sort of friendship and every single thing else that comes with a community. So anyway, listen, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully you guys, you know, can share this, like it, subscribe it. I'm gonna put all the links in the community. If you haven't already joined the community, please join the community. And we're up to how many members are we? We're up to 161 members, so we're actually kind of growing a little bit here. We're growing slowly but surely. I have to put more effort and time into it, but join the community, come chat with me, ask questions, um, post your updates, by the way, of some of the problems that you have, or questions or challenges, because they need to come into the lives more. Yeah, that's 100% true. Yeah, they need to do that. I think the time it's a time zone problem. We got people all over the world, so we got a time zone problem. And I'm going to experiment with going lives at different times to kind of see how that works. But yeah, well, it is what it is. But that's why we have recordings and other stuff, right? People could do it to them. So with that, it's always a pleasure. Thank you, Colette, again for jumping on and thinking. I'm going to try to do that next week again and see if we could get some other people. But thank you so much for that. That was actually pretty cool. I felt like a radio talk host for a brief second. Okay, guys, enjoy the weekend. Oh, it's Mother's Day. If you're a mother, happy Mother's Day to you. And yeah, I'm gonna be spending some time with my family and try to do all the family stuff. But yeah, stay stay loving out there and stay caring. And the world's kind of a crazy place. So yeah, no worries, Mr. Mimo. Thanks so much for fun, lovely discussion. Happy weekend. Happy weekend to all you guys. Bye bye. Bye bye. Do, do, do. La 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 la. End broadcast.